Hello, my name is Vicki Julian. I'm a member of Kansas Authors Club, and I'm here to talk about setting up an author writer business. And we'll discuss a little bit about who should do that, who should maybe consider just doing miscellaneous income. I'm not a CPA, but I have done self employment taxes for more than 3 decades. So I'm fairly familiar with the forms and much of what the IRS requires. Just a little bit of statistics for you. A new self published book will have on average sales of 250 to 500 over its lifetime. 90% of self published books make less than $500 a year. 20% earn nothing. The average self published author may earn up to 1,000 a year. In with the big publishing houses like Penguin, Random House, Harlequin Enterprises, and Simon and Schuster, uh, it normally will require an agent to be accepted by them. They also want to know that you have a large platform, you have a lot of followers, and they need to be able to substantiate that. And even with that, some of their new publishers will own, or newly published authors will only sell 300 copies. 39% sell more than 100 copies. So that gives you a little bit of perspective on what to expect. Now, when you're considering operating a business with your writing and authorship, you need to determine whether or not you can convince the IRS it's a business rather than a hobby. Keep in mind, too, that you can't take more than two losses in a 5 year period. So you have to show a profit within 3 of those years. In looking at uh, a business situation, keep in mind that your profit, you will owe 12.4% for Social Security because you are paying for not only your half, but you're paying the half that an employer would pay. If you do miscellaneous or additional income, that might be taxed, but at least you wouldn't be taxed on Social Security. So, what you need to determine is if you can do your writing as a business. Now, some of the common things that you will be able to take as a deduction would be mileage. And that mileage can be anything from when you go to a fair, any kind of venue where you're selling your books, you can take the mileage to and from. Materials for your work, including to and from book signings. If you have to go pick up some printer paper or some ink or flyers, you can take that mileage as well. Now, you can also take the cost of things like ink, your paper, uh, decor items for your book signing or sales venue. And that has to be something, though, that is specific and can only be used at something like a venue. If you have something like candy that you're giving away, of course, you can take that cost as well. Raffle items you can take, advertising, the cost of your books you will want to deduct, fees for venues, and professional fees, Kansas Authors Club dues. Anytime you engage a contractor, such as an artist or web designer, If you also employ an editor or a tax expert, your domain name, if you have a website, and I certainly encourage you, if you're going to do this as a business, that you have a website. That's one way to indicate that you are professional, and that needs to be totally devoted to your business. Then also, if you pay a website host, that will also be something that you can deduct. You can deduct a percent of things like your computer that you have to use, whatever percentage you allot to your business. Also, your phone. You can do things like that. One little known aspect is that you can deduct your health insurance premiums. So that is a biggie. Now, one thing to mention here on your health insurance. If you do take a health insurance premium, you cannot have a loss on your business. So if it would put you into a loss, you need to take away some of the other deductions you might use. So you can come up with zero, but you cannot have a loss if you do that. You can do a home office, and a home office has to be a designated space uh, where that's all you use it for. Then you can take furnishings, mortgage, insurance, uh, but I will tell you that that increases your chance of an audit considerably. You can't take a deduction for your time. You can't take clothing that you wear elsewhere if you buy something, if you buy something that can be used elsewhere, like a candy dish, seasonal decoration. You can only take the percentage used for business. You will also need to track your sales, and that has to be done meticulously. What you charge others, you need to know. The cost of your book, you need to know. You need to know sales tax, and you need to remember if you include sales tax in the cost that you charge others, then you need to make sure that you deduct that from your profit. And it's wonderful to have a CPA or other tax professional, but you're the one who has to assemble all that information. So please keep that in mind. Now, there are some questions that come up periodically. One, how do I know where to put the deductions on the form? And I'm going to hold up a form that you would complete. And this is when software comes in really handy. If you use TurboTax, you'll need the home and business. I don't know about the others, but tax software does make things a lot easier in being able to make sure your deductions are in the right place. Here is a copy of what you would be filling out, and that's the backside. It has things like advertising, car and truck expenses, commissions and fees, contract labor, employee benefit programs, and that's only if you have employees, insurance other than health. And if you have a loan, for instance, then that's strictly just for the business. You could take that interest as well. So it's got a variety of things and that will prompt you. But again, tax software does an excellent job of asking you questions that will help you. Um, on the forms, there are two sites, and if you live in Kansas, a site you're going to want is www.ksrevenue.com And from there, you can select uh, business tax, and it's got a variety of things. That's where every year you would indicate how much sales tax you took in and need to pay. So let's go through some of these question and answers. Okay. Um, First off, do you need a business name? That depends on several things. Um, you can use just your name or your social security number, and you can add something like Vicki Julian Consulting or Vicki Julian Editing. I can do, or just your name. And unless you want to incorporate or have considerable sales, or if you have other valid reasons to uh, list the income and expenses separate from your personal finances, you don't need an official business name. Do I need an EIN? That's an employee identification number. You don't need that unless you have employees. And most of us don't do that. We write independently. How and when do I pay sales tax? Kansas offers the tax rates of various cities and counties. They also will help you find the tax rates for other states because sales tax should reflect where sales are made. And if you're shipping to a particular location, the sales tax of that destination. In Kansas, you pay sales tax in January, and you can go on to that site that I gave, the kansasrevenue.gov, and it will tell you when it is due. And it's usually due somewhere around mid-January. And you want to make sure that you uh, pay the sales tax that is due from your sales and also from your personal books. If you order copies of your books, you'll want to get a tax exemption status. And the reason you want to do that, whether you order your books from Amazon or you order them from Adam Card Press, you want to make sure that sales tax isn't paid on those because you're going to collect sales tax from other people, or you will pay sales tax on that yourself on the copies you use to give away or keep or just personal use. Now, um, when you do your sales tax for the books that you sell, you'll be doing the total tax on that. And if you've already paid tax on it um, to Amazon or to Anamcar Press, for instance, or Meadowlark Press or any other location, you will be paying double taxes, and there's no way to recover that. So you want to look at a tax exemption. Now, where do you get that? You can go to the website, again, www.ksrevenue.gov, and select the option under business. They also offer a nice little menu, and you want to make sure that you scroll down if you don't see what you're looking for. But they have one that definitely indicates that it's an application for a tax exemption, and you will want to do that. Do I need to make quarterly payments? Well, the IRS said you should. If you owed previously, then you should. However, they don't really levy a fine, I believe, unless you have um, a debt of more than $1,000. and few people really have that much. So if you pay the cost, that is the important thing if you just do it once a year. But um, in actuality, you could be making those quarterly estimated payments. What you would need to do is to go to irs.gov, and there is a menu item for estimated taxes. The IRS states you don't have to pay quarterly taxes if you meet three criteria. You did not have a tax liability the prior year. You were a U.S. citizen or resident alien for the whole year, or your prior year covered a 12-month period. You need all three of those. So, in most cases, if you're going to have regular sales, you should be doing that estimated tax. Do I need to issue a 1099? You don't issue that to people who buy a lot of your books. The criteria is $600 in 1 year. That is if you pay someone. If you pay an artist, if you pay an editor, you technically should issue a 1099. That protects you as well as the person you're giving the 1099 to. I think probably most editors and contractual labor such as that keep really good tabs on their income so they know what they've been paid. So it's not a worry about whether or not they will report it to the IRS. More than anything, it gives you a viable documentation that you paid that money to contractual labor. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to send those to Adam Park Press. And Mickey will be able to forward those on, and I can answer those for you via email. I hope you've learned a little bit more about taxes and how to do them than you knew when this video first started. Thanks for listening.